Hello everyone. Welcome to Port Media Open Studios. I'm your host Mary Jacobsen, and I am so excited to be here to talk about the return of the Earthport Film Festival coming to the Firehouse Center for the Arts April 23rd at 6 p.m. with a reception starting half an hour earlier. And I am so lucky to have the founders of this festival with me today. This festival was inspired and organized by Sarah Hayden of Newburyport Community Media and Elizabeth Marcus of Transition Newburyport. And first of all, welcome and thank you both so much for being willing to come and talk about the festival today.
Of course. It's so wonderful that you're going to take the time and utilize these wonderful resources and get our information out about the festival.
They are wonderful resources, and it's a wonderful festival. And I thought we might start out, if you would both share with us, you know, in the Marvel universe, they talk about the origin story of everything. So let's talk about the origin story of the film festival that you're bringing us, and how your two organizations, Newburyport Community Media and Transition Newburyport, came together to start this festival.
Well, before Elizabeth talks about that, because she has all that good information, I will just go even the origin of the origin a little bit earlier. And Elizabeth and I were neighbors in the South End. And I recall Elizabeth went to learn how to do video production at the Community Media Center when it was on Hale Street. So it was still on, I think it was Media One or AT&T or something. And I had been doing work there, you know, just different volunteer stuff and goofing around and, you know. And she wanted to do window boxes. That's what drew her there. Which I think
a video about window boxes.
Yes, a video about, because we have beautiful window boxes. And have you done that?
No.
Yeah, no. See?
One day.
So we ended up doing a few different shows together, and we were working on Fiddle Magic with E.J. Ouellette. I think we both did camera. Did you do camera on that, or Cindy? Okay, that was another one in our group.
We did the mayor's show.
Yes, Newburyport Today, and her son created the music, and it just was really great. So I already knew Elizabeth, and then when she told me about Transition Newburyport, which I must have heard about, or maybe she came in because there was a show at that time you could get from PEG Media called Peak Movement, I think is what it was. Then we just got chatting about a show together. And that's how it sort of came to light with a very, you know, different ideas. We had wanted to do a festival, and she wanted to do a show together about, you know, Transition Newburyport information, I think. Is that right? Take it away, Elizabeth.
So I was interested in doing something. Transition Newburyport is about being environmentally active at the community level. And so I was interested in a film festival, and Sarah and I just started talking about it, and you know, me with my environmental focus, and Sarah and Port Media it was just Port Media at that time, wanting to give people an opportunity to make videos about different topics. And so at that time we weren't thinking really about doing a lot of outreach for a festival. We just were thinking about going out to other community media hubs and seeing what people might produce to come in for a film festival. And that was in 2012 when we did the first one. And we really didn't do a lot of publicity. It was mostly local. We got a number of films, and then somehow we decided we needed more to get more films and to reach out more. And so the next year we started using a film platform to reach out more. But at any rate, that's the way it all started.
Well, it sounds like it was very organic, and I like the idea that it started with a friendship, and then built from there. And someday you'll get back to those window boxes, I'm sure.
We'll see.
It'll be in the film festival one day.
I would say, you going to do something about those window boxes? No, there's just no time after that.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, what's exciting particularly about this film festival, it's the first time you've been able to do it since 2019. So this is a post-pandemic triumph. And I wonder, first of all, how are both of you feeling about starting up again now in 2023, not having done it since 2019. What are you hearing from people in the community about the film festival coming back?
Well, people that I've heard from have been waiting for it to come back and are very glad that it's back. I think, you know, we've been through some really challenging times.
Yes.
In many ways, and I think that people have sort of turned inward, and that I sense in myself and in others, I sense that people are starting to you know, look around, to reach out more, to get back to things that they were involved in pre-pandemic. And you know, the film festival, to me, even just getting and reviewing the films, it's always I learn so much. It inspires me to do things, and I feel that it's a perfect thing to watch these films now, to see that there are still important things happening out there, and if you're ready to get back into the water, there's a way to be engaged in it. So that's the way I personally feel about it, and I think a lot of people are feeling that. Okay, you know, we've been through these difficult times. Now let's look out again and see how we can jump in.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think people are remembering what life used to be like.
Yeah, exactly.
And wanting to get back in. How about you, Sarah?
I think that I feel similar. I do notice, you know, my hesitation still about just going into a theater or a smaller area, and I've heard from John, you know, at the Firehouse that it has been a slow comeback. A lot of people that used to come regularly to things, and that would include our thing too, I'm sure, may not because of the format that it's inside in a theater. And I remember just getting the tickets. I got them yesterday or this morning, I can't remember, but I remember looking at the seats going, which seat, It was so I never really thought about that. I usually just would pick the seats. I wouldn't care if they were all full next to me, but it's just a different kind of feeling. I think it'll also be interesting to see what people were filming before the pandemic. And then for next year when the films come out, there always does seem to be some sort of linking theme throughout the world, which I find fascinating. So
yeah, that would be fascinating to see, absolutely. One of the things I'm curious about is, you know, what made you decide to go with short films?
I think originally because, as I mentioned, we were thinking about more about people producing videos in community media centers. We thought that feature-length films probably weren't a good way to go. And what I feel it's evolved into is that people who make short films really don't have that many opportunities for the public to see them.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I know there are in bigger film festivals, you know, where they go for days, they'll have short blocks, but it's really tough for those films to get, for people in the public to see them. So I think that's just why we stuck with it. Plus the opportunity as we got into the festivals to show so many different topics. You know, this year we have 11 films in an hour and a half. So you're really exposed to a lot of different ideas and people and activities.
Well, you know, you're absolutely right. You rarely get a chance to see, like even if a short film, they have a short category for the Academy Awards, but whoever gets to see them, we don't. And so I think that's really brilliant to give the exposure to the short films. Because otherwise there's a lot of really good ones out there. I went to the last Earthport Film Festival, and there were a lot of really good ones, and you just don't get the chance otherwise. So I think that was an inspired choice. Plus, who doesn't like a short movie? I'm a great fan myself of short books. You know, bring it in less than 100 pages, you know, and so short films too. So I think that was an inspired choice, and it also makes your film festival stand out from others that might feature longer films.
And I think it takes a particular skill to be able to develop and tell a story in a very short period of time.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's very different. I mean, I love feature-length films too, but I've enjoyed these a lot.
You know what I found too with the short films is that, which is really impactful to me, is watching them from beginning to end, going sort of all around the world, and then just feeling the impact of the environmental issues and climate change globally. And I think that it really does show that, because they're all, they're all around the world, and every year they're, well, besides the 3 that we didn't do it, it was just so interesting, because there is some similar theme that tends to run through them, and it makes you realize, made me realize, of course I do, that there is climate issues, that this is not just us, it's the whole world. So I think that's important.
Well, in fact, I was hoping you could talk about the diversity of both the countries of origin of the films that you'll be showing, and also the genres, because I think some of them are documentaries, some of them fiction. So talk to us about the range of things that you've selected.
Okay. I'm going to open my program.
You are allowed to open your program. You don't have to memorize everything.
So almost every year, not the first year that we started, but pretty much since then, we've been getting submissions from this wonderful film program for middle school students in Hawaii. And they have submitted again this year, and so we are showing a couple of their films.
Wonderful.
So those are our two youth filmmaker selections. We have a film from Iran. So I'm just talking about geographically now. We have a film from France, from Spain, and from Honduras.
Wow, okay. That's several continents right there.
Yeah. And in terms of genre, we have a number of them are documentaries. I would say probably most of them are documentaries. There's one that's very interesting because it's a documentary about birds that's enhanced with animation.
Oh.
And that one is sort of stuck into my mind. So we don't have any animated films per se, but a film with animation, very, very cleverly done. And then we have sort of a mystery. We have a Western.
Oh. Fabulous.
Which was very creative. And then there's what I would call a fable.
Well, okay, you've got me hooked.
Good.
That sounds like a wonderful variety of films. And I wanted to ask you, because you watched them all, probably more than once, to select them. I was just hoping each of you could talk about maybe one film that you found inspiring or memorable.
Oh, that's really hard.
Because you don't want to pick one? Or
Yes. Because frankly, they all, because one I loved because it was beautifully filmed. One I loved because it was a shocker, and it really woke you up.
Now I'm curious too. I can't remember the films. I'm looking forward to it.
So.
Well, the fact that you're finding it hard to choose is a statement by itself, Elizabeth.
Thank you for letting me off the hook there.
How about you, Sarah?
I did see them all, and I remember feeling like, oh, that will be a good festival.
Yeah.
don't have one in particular that stands out, except I think it might have been the Western. Is that the one in the desert? Yeah, it was, I'm not sure if that's the one Elizabeth was referring to with it being beautifully filmed, but I thought that it was really interesting and sad. You know, it's just what we, do to our land.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of sad stories there. Well, I want to tell you
too.
I want to tell you about one of the films that I saw in the last festival that I still think about.
Okay, good.
It was very short. It was animated, and I don't remember the name of it. Maybe you'll recollect it. But film starts out, the humans are gathering spaceships. They're leaving the planet because we've destroyed it. And they're leaving all the animals behind, the dogs and the cats, the pets, the wild animals. And you're going, oh, this is so sad. The poor animals, they're being abandoned on a planet. And the spaceships take off and the humans are gone. And then the animals start to get happy. They frolic. The planet reconstitutes itself, and they're way better off.
Yes.
What a message.
And I can't tell you how often I've thought about that film. Anyway, it was really, and this was probably like, a 3 to 5 minute movie, but it had an impact. And I think part of the benefit of short films is sometimes they can make their point in a dramatic way, and it just stays with you more than a longer film might. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for that, and I'm intrigued now.
I had forgotten that
Do you remember
it? I absolutely do. I absolutely do.
It makes me think of I brought it up to Elizabeth earlier. We were talking about films that we could remember that we liked, and The Plumerie was one that had the same sort of an impact that I remembered. I remembered from time to time because it talked about, just showed how small a space you need to have to produce so much garden, so many vegetables.
I remember that one too. Yeah,
it was
very
fascinating.
small, and yet it was
small.
Abundant.
Yeah,
just abundant.
Yeah, so it was inspiring, for us to get involved in the community garden that the North Shore had, and it was the same. It was like, oh my God, look at all these darn tomatoes!
Look what you can do.
Yeah, it was very good.
And then in terms of continuity, we were talking a little earlier about one film that we both, I didn't tell you that I really loved it, but I did really love it. It was a film called I Am Red about the Colorado River.
Oh,
beautiful.
A very short film. It was one of our winners that year. And it talked about the plight of the Colorado River, that it was an endangered river, and that its resources were being pulled. And that was a warning back in 2013, and here we are 10 years later.
It was
and
prophetic.
It's worse.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's crisis
he
now.
knew it was coming back then,
Yep.
and he's made all these beautiful films. Peter McBride is the filmmaker's name, photographer,
beautiful
filmmaker,
sad,
and so.
Well, tell us about where the proceeds from the film festival will go, because I think people would be interested in knowing what they'll be supporting.
Well, the proceeds, we always hope that there are some. Will go to Port Media, or the video production, and it comes into the main. We only have one account it comes in, but we like to, support continued filmmaking to tell stories.
Right.
So however that can be used, and like I said, it's nice if we break even. Sometimes we make a little bit more, right? So hopefully people will see and come out and support the festival. We are using a local, we have catering, and we used to have a local caterer. She moved, but we're using Port City Sandwich. I knew City was in there. I was like, what happened to my words? Port City Sandwich, which I think is important to use local people.
Absolutely.
And it's a zero waste event. So we have compostable dishes, and we have no plastic cups, and what else? I mean, honestly, black earth compost. Go ahead, you talk.
No, I was just going to say we're trying to get better and better every year at leaving with no waste. And I do remember one year we just had one straw left. One of those orange straws that I'm not going to mention who uses them. But we and this year I think we're going to see if people will will take to just drinking their seltzer out of a can rather than pouring it into a glass, a plastic glass with ice, because you figure there's that plastic. You may recycle it, but still there's a lot of embedded energy in there, plus the energy to make the ice, and so we'll see how that goes.
Well, I always drink my seltzer right from the can.
All right, well that's good, and that's good thing to do.
It's authentic.
It'll be cold. It'll be cold.
That's all that matters. Well, it's so much fun to talk to you about this. One final, very important question is, how can people get more information about the festival, and how can they get tickets?
Oh, okay.
You're on, Elizabeth.
Well, the festival is at the Firehouse Center for the Arts, and people can just go to their site, firehouse.org, and look for the Earthport Film Festival and get their tickets there. Also, if you want more detailed information about the films, that would be on our website, which is earthportfilm.org.
Earthportfilm.org, easy to remember.
Yes.
And firehouse.org to get tickets, also easy to remember.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. It's fun to talk to you about this. I'm excited about going now. It sounds like there will be a real variety of intriguing films. And just thank you also for putting the energy into making this festival happen and bringing this diversity of stories to our community. It sounds like a great lineup, and how wonderful to have it happening again after the long, hiatus that COVID brought us all.
I call it the post-pandemic.
We'll all look forward to the films and to some authentic cold seltzer in a can.
Well, thank you so much for,
it's my pleasure.
Having us, Mary.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
You take care now. All right. That's it, everybody. Bye-bye.